Hi, everyone, and it is June. Can you believe that? It's just amazing how time has flown. We started our talk show, I think about a couple of months ago, and we've had some fabulous guests. And just real excited about the whole atmosphere and the interviews that we're doing with different guests and bringing you people that I know that you're just going to enjoy to hear their artistic journey or that can inspire you to work on your next creative project. Hopefully, we will fill those shoes again today. Now, I have a couple of announcements. Some of you had been asking me about PDF downloads for sales and marketing information. So now I have created an Etsy store where you'll be able to go in there and download some sales and marketing information. I'm also going to develop some worksheets that you can work with. It's going to be about trade shows, or it could be about creating content for your social media. But I'm working my way through a lot of my files and updating information. So yeah, I will post the link after the talk show, and that way you can just go in there and take a look. Right now, I just have one file in there, but in the next couple of weeks, there will be more information. So I'm excited to have our guest for today, and this is an author. Her name is Kimberley Bell, and she's the author of the book Empowering You. So I am going to have Kimberley. Hi, Kimberley. How are you?
Hey, Adele. I'm great. How are you doing?
Well, just wonderful. I am so glad you're here with us, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say and to help these artists to be inspired, to get energy, to be creative. So it's exciting for you to be here. I know we've tried to connect a couple of times, and there's been one thing after the other, but it's fun. Here we are now.
Finally, yes.
Thanks for being here.
No, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's great. I know that we had talked earlier before we had started our talk show that you wanted to cover information like connection, clarity, and confidence equals creation. And I know that this is a big thing for us artists. We work alone in our studios, and staying confident and motivated is sometimes really tough.
It is, yeah. No, I can totally relate to that. I'd like to say hi to everybody. How you doing?
Okay.
Thank you for stopping in. So yes, you guys are alone a lot. I too feel as though I'm alone a lot. I do work with people on a regular basis, but I am solitary in a lot of ways. However, I think that's a really great thing. Okay, so I think that we do spend time, those of us who, create or, can get really good inspirations, being in that place and creating that space is really important for us to, to receive the inspirations and to come up with our greatest creations yet. So today I would really like to talk about how to move through the fear, how to move through the, the lack mentality when we are creating things, right? And so I'm an author. You guys are all beautiful, artistically inclined. I'm a different kind of artistically inclined, but always loved, just so valued what people can do with art and all the creative minds that come together and the talents. But we all have one thing in common. And actually, everybody in the world has one thing in common, and that is that we're insecure, right? And so when we, kind of bare our soul, if you will, which is what we're doing when we create something, we show the world or we show our family. I wrote a book. I literally felt as though I was taking off my clothes in front of the world, because I was, for the first time, going to be seen and felt personally, right? Which most people who knew me have never known me like that. And even people who are related to me would not have really known me like that had they not read my book, right?
Right.
And that was really hard. I had to really find a way to do this, but I want to help you guys, because this is how it goes. So let's use a canvas as an analogy here. I look at all of us as though we are canvases. And before we can make our Picasso, so to speak, we have to make sure that our canvas is like as pure as possible, right? It's the highest grade. We've taken so much care. We love it. We cherish the canvas because we know that that canvas is the place where our greatness is going to shine through. So in making that analogy, we are the canvases. The first thing that we have to do is to create space for us to connect with ourselves. I believe that this is a powerful time for creativity, a powerful time for everyone who is embodied on this planet at this time to really call in their greatest and best self. And it doesn't really look like that right now, but I believe that that is really what's happening. And we have to get all the stuff out of the way so that we can bring forth our greatest self. But our fears often get in the way, right? It's always hard to move through fear. But if we can embrace our canvas, embrace ourselves, create time and space so that we can connect with us, that is the place where we get to know ourselves and we get to start becoming clear, right? Clear in our lives, clear with what we want, clear with what doesn't feel good, maybe clear with relationships that aren't really, working for us anymore. When we have a lot of static in our lives, right, and we have a lot of distraction and we're disconnected from self, we can't get the clear inspirations, right? We can't connect with ourselves and know what's right and get that moment of awesome inspiration.
Right.
Unless we create a space.
Right. And what one thing I wanted to ask you, what do you feel is really the key in helping our artist community, to move forward through their lack of confidence, fear of being seen, failure, rejection? I think we all go through part of that, whether we're working solitaire in our studios or we just finished a project and thinking, what other idea am I going to come up with? Am I going to be as good as my last piece? So there's a lot of that holds us back. No matter how good we are, we still have those feelings.
Right. So, but what I'm saying is really the first thing we need to do is to make space to connect with ourselves. Okay.
Exactly.
When we connect with ourselves, then we can allow for this kind of stuff to come in, but we have to create a space. So even if it's 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So getting, connecting time every day, even if you're in your car at a stoplight, it's a great time to just say, hey, how am I feeling right now? What's going on? And I am going to talk about some tools, but after the connection part is really getting clear and getting connected to us. How do we feel about things, right? We're artists, we feel. That's where great motivations and inspirations come from. So if we clear a way.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Where do we begin?
So where we begin is creating a space every day. So let's say 5 minutes a day, okay? And sitting down with ourselves and starting to talk to ourselves a little bit. How are you feeling? What's going on in your life? What are things that you're grateful for today? I always tell people to take time every day to write down 3 things they are grateful for, right? 3 things that they like about themselves. Because a big part of this process for confidence is learning to become our own best friend. But before we can do that, we have to begin to like ourselves, okay? So through connecting with ourselves, okay, we start to get more connected, start to listen to ourselves more, start to realize things a lot more when we shut out the distractions, right? Okay. So through the clearing away, we get the clarity, okay? And really, that's when the time comes that we get these inspirations, when we create the space, when we connect with ourselves on a regular basis. Those are the times. Like, I know that if I go out in the back and I take a pad of paper first thing in the morning, I'm going to get inspiration because I've been doing it for so long. It's almost like I set the time and space and then it comes in. Okay. But I wanted to talk about something because you brought up the imposter syndrome the other day.
I did. When I was putting my group together a couple of months ago, and I had asked some questions. What is it that's holding you back from creating? And one of the things that kept coming up was they were dealing with the imposter syndrome. And I never addressed that in the group because, it's like, what do you say for something like that? It's a touchy subject. So what is your feelings about that, Kimberly?
Well, I think that everyone experiences it. Okay. And I think that depending on where we are in our process and our journey of, unfolding and getting more connected to self and really knowing our authentic self more and knowing that core, making that, that core of ourselves stronger, we start to value ourselves more. But in order to be able to value yourself, you have to get to know you, right? And, okay. I talk about this so much because I didn't start getting to know myself till my mid-40s. And that was really powerful. I had a moment where I realized I didn't know what I wanted related to anything in my life because I had always been influenced by those around me, right? Making decisions for other people, making all kinds of decisions, right? Like what kind of ice cream I wanted. I talk about that all the time, but I just had that moment. But the imposter complex is something I think that, or syndrome is something that I think happens to all of us. Mm-hmm. And for us to know that, I think is somewhat relieving. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm a big believer that we've all kind of bought into this lack mentality, right? This I'm not enough. We've kind of been raised in this place of you're not good enough, right? And we see it, early in childhood. We see it in school. We see it in families. We're often told that we're not doing it right and we need to do it this way. So, we grow up so detached from ourselves because we don't know what to think. We don't know what to feel because someone's constantly telling us what to think, what to feel or not to feel. That's a big one right now. Don't feel, but in order for us to navigate our lives, we have to feel. In order for us to be powerful creators, we have to feel. Our feelings are our greatest navigation tool. So when it comes to the imposter syndrome, getting connected, making the space, inviting that space, getting connected to self, checking in, understanding what is working for me in my life. What do I want to change about me so that I can move away, clear away, so that I can invite organic inspiration, so that I can get these amazing ideas. Now, we spoke the other day, you and I, about making a creation and then almost having this feeling like, oh my God, what about if I've just made my most amazing thing and I'll never create my next most amazing thing, right? I mean, that's like a book, right? Oh my God, what am I going to do? I hope my next book can be better than my first book, right? We're constantly, I think every artist goes through that. We do have a question, Kimberly. Deb wants to know, what is the imposter syndrome? Well, the way that I read it, because I wish I had left it up. The way that I had read it was almost feeling like you're a fraud, right? Almost feeling like you're not legitimized, okay? And I'm going to share a quick story because I just had this happen yesterday. Here's the universe for you. I was questioned by a psychologist or psychiatrist. I'm not quite sure, right? And it was interesting what was going on because through the conversation, I could tell she was really not liking the answers that I had for her. And I had some questions for her and she was really I could feel upset, but I was like, gosh, I don't know, what's going on. And I got the feeling that because I'm not clinically trained the way that she is, that in her mind, I am a fraud. And 5 years ago, that would have sent me like in a hole, right? But now, of course, I know that, number one, she wouldn't be looking at me like that had she not felt that about herself in some way. So
Sure.
I would like to bring that to everybody's attention. If you're questioning yourself, I believe that questioning is here to help you push through it, okay? If you're an artist, that's not by accident. Like, that is not by accident. If you're an artist, you have a divine talent to share on whatever level you feel is appropriate for you. And if that's keeping you, though, from being seen on a grander scale, then I would just say to you, think about that, because if the fear is really great, it's probably what you're supposed to do. It's a funny thing, but through life, all these fears that we're faced with, I think that we're faced with these fears to help push us through them. So the opposite of what you really want to do oftentimes is that which you should do, because then you get that confidence on the other side that propels you and it elevates you forward, right? So is that clear about the imposter syndrome? Do you think I?
This was Deb Wood that asked the question. Deb, did that clear up what you were asking? And please feel free to post your questions below, and we're going to get to them as quickly as possible. So we can, there's nothing right now. We have a bit of a delay, Kimberly, sometimes on the questions.
Okay.
So we were talking about when we complete projects and we're thinking, are we going to be as good as the next one?
Right.
That's where we left it off.
Right. And so what I would say to that is what I do, all the time is to go back to that space, And the other thing that I didn't mention is getting into nature. Okay. Getting into nature, and now's the perfect time, perfect time of year to be outside. Getting into nature empowers our inspiration because we're in and around the elemental and the animal kingdoms, right? This is hugely energetic. We have the sun, we have the trees, we have all the plant life and water and all these wonderful energies around us. And I do find that many people tell me that they get these awesome moments of inspiration when they're outside. So, if you can, I'm sure often you guys take your creations outside, but a lot of times people are inside in the studio. But even getting out and hiking or, taking a pad, whatever it is, lots of high vibration outside. So that's another wonderful place to invite in new inspirations, or just clear away, clear your head and get out there. I did want to say something else. I will just say this, that I worked with an artist a few years ago, really talented. I could tell she was really talented. And she had done the art earlier in life and then had the family. And here comes the fear again, the fear of not being right at that level when you go back to it, when you finally give yourself permission, which is a big part of it, because the fear becomes so great. And it was something that we had to work through, because there were a lot of distractions in life. And, if you're like me or all of us, you find distractions when you're afraid of something so that you don't quite have to deal with it. I think we all do that. And I just want to say that it was very liberating for them to be able to start again and to get excited about the canvas that was waiting for them in their studio. Mm-hmm. So, it's exciting. It's exciting. It's exciting, right? In the beginning process, what does it feel like to you? I'm just curious because I'm not an artist like that, but you have these ideas. Do they come out exactly the way you see them?
Well, I think no, not necessarily.
Okay. Yeah, same.
Yeah. Sometimes you have something in mind, and what happens, and you start in that direction, but then it kind of gets a mind of its own, and it just takes off. And at the beginning, sometimes we tend to fight it, but then we have to let it go and just let it develop on its own. And it could be kind of what we thought we were going to do.
Right.
But it just goes, and you hear a lot of that. They said, "Well, this is what I was going to do, but it kind of went in a different direction." Right. So I think you go through that big thought process. I would think it's the same thing like when you're writing your book, Kimberly. You're working on a chapter, and you're going, "I'm going to put this in the chapter," and then all of a sudden, the chapter, instead of being 30 pages, is 130 pages. Yeah. So your mind just gets
all over the place, right?
Yeah, we're the same way. We're the same way. There is some way. So there's a lot of stuff going on because we tackle so many different tasks when we're working on sculptures, from the armature, starting the figure, the costuming, and the props. So it's a little bit of everything that's playing. You're playing that in your head as you're working through your project.
Right. Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot going on when we're working on. Like I said, depends on how big the project. Well, no matter. It doesn't matter if it's a small project or a little project.
Right.
So the actions that you were talking about, like their daily actions. You're saying writing and visualizing and feeling it, the success. That's the other one that I find very interesting. We do not. I'm guilty of this. Sometimes I don't stop to feel the success of what I have created.
I know.
And I think that if I did this more, I think I would feel even that much better for when I did my next piece, because I would remember that feeling once I was through with a piece. Yeah.
I agree. Okay. Because I have that with me. Oftentimes I won't, here I am talking to you, but I'll be honest. Oftentimes when I do things, I don't necessarily know or can absorb, right? Or can feel that. I kind of look to people and how they feel, I guess. I mean, I can feel a little bit. Well, maybe not for approval.
Okay.
I would have done that a long time ago. But when we're looking for approval, then we're really doing it for somebody else, right?
Correct.
But I guess instead of approval, I might look for confirmation that I'm on the right track.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Because people give me feedback. I get feedback energetically from people. I get feedback, words, their feelings, because I feel feelings. I get feedback in all different ways. But I agree with you. That's one of those things. But I want to talk about feelings for a moment, because do you want me to go through my suggestions daily for a daily practice, how to set it up?
Yeah, that would be a good idea. But before you get started, we have someone asking. I'll put it up here for you.
Okay.
She talks about the fear of failure holds her back, comparing her art to others.
Okay. Such a fantastic question. Thank you for asking. Okay, here's the scoop. Every single person here, okay, has their own blueprint, if you will, okay? Think of us as a beautiful tapestry of one, and we're all magnificent threads that make up this magnificent tapestry. So your art, hold on, put on the glasses here. Mamie?
Yeah.
Your art, what you are here to offer is uniquely coming through you, okay? There is nobody else who has had your life experience, who is you, who looks at life through the lens at which you look through life. So you are uniquely you. Therefore, try not to pay as much attention. So when I see things that I value in other people, I look at it like that. It's no longer like, it used to be jealousy. It used to manifest for me differently. Now it's more of, gosh, what a beautiful woman, or wow, I'm so touched by their nature, right? So if I'm an artist, hopefully I can get to the point, and you definitely can. I mean, everyone can get to this point for sure, where you value what the other person has. Like there are other coaches and psychiatrists and psychologists that I work with and things, and we all have our own flavor. We all have our own gifts. So what I would say is put the focus on that and know that you are here to bring something unique into the world, and try not to focus on other people. And I know that that's tricky, right? Because that's the trick in life, is to learn how to drive your own car and not keep taking directions from the passenger. Right? Because if we're driving our car and somebody's shouting the directions at us quickly, if we have to go back by ourselves and no one's telling us how to go, we won't have paid attention to how we got there, what the landmarks were, and what the experience was. And it's very much the same. So you're here to bring your own thing in, and try to remember that and try to embrace that. And that's why when we get more connected to ourselves, we can uncover more of ourselves and really your greater and your best self. That's when honestly, people will keep upping their game. And I don't mean that in a competitive way, but I guess I want to say we get more in touch with our authentic self. And that's when, it becomes a higher vibration of creation. That's probably a good way to put it.
Well, thank you, Kimberly. We have another from Nona. I'll put this up on the screen for you as well. My art seems to take a backseat to what everyone else wants me to do for them.
Yes, my dear.
Yes, I can relate to that.
Nona. Welcome to the world. Okay, so this is big, and I wonder how old you are. I'm thinking, we find ourselves like this when we're like maybe in our late 30s, 40s, and upwards, where we start to realize what is going on. Hello, I'm here too. And it's funny because as, females, I don't want to go too male, female-y, and we all have our own upbringings and life experience and culture. But what happens is, being a female, often we are taught we're all taught abandon self, but females are really taught, don't worry about you, okay? Just get going, do what we all need you to do, take care of everybody else. So, and depending on what the household was like and, all of those things as to what degree you do that too, really. So here's the scoop. This is a wonderful question. The best thing you could do for yourself, if you aren't already doing it, is set aside 5 minutes a day for you. And I'm going to talk about these tools. And through you getting connected, okay, the one thing I want to say is, Nona, without you, you don't have anything, really, okay? In order for us to uncover our value, to start embracing ourselves, to become our best friends, right? Because you deserve time for your art. And that's hugely important for you. And let me tell you, if you're feeling it, and this is something that you're feeling challenged by, your soul is saying, girl, it's time. It's time for you to create the space. And this is all about boundaries. We love people in our lives. We love to do for them, okay? And most of our life, that's how we started feeling good, was we got to do for other people. And then we get to a place where we realize that becomes energetically kind of exhausting and we lose ourselves. So thank goodness we realize this. But it's all about creating space for you and then saying to our family members in a quiet, loving way, we don't have to tell them we're doing this. We just start saying, you know what, I wish I could, but I really can't, right? And that's a hard thing for us to do, is to be honest and to let people know who always come to us and rely on us for things that, gosh, you know what, I really need to get this done. Maybe I can do it next time. That's one of the most empowering things that we can do for ourselves. That's a big part, actually, of my book that I wrote, Empowering You, 11 Ways to Shift Your Personal Paradigm. Because without you, we got nothing without ourselves, right?
That is so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. Yeah. And I think we all go through that.
All do.
Yeah, I hear this a lot from ladies. Listen, guilty as charged here.
Guilty. So guilty
Yeah.
is charged as well. And men go through this too, though. I don't want to make this a male-female thing.
No, I'm sure they do.
There's a lot of men, coming in right now that have more, I don't want to say more feminine qualities, but it's this energy, this beautiful energy that men are coming in with, and it's they're more empathizing and they're more sensitive and they're more giving,
Right.
So it happens to everybody, but being clear on your boundaries for you, and then starting to let other people know that you have boundaries now too. That's a really healthy thing to do.
Yeah, and it's tough. It's tough to once you get there and putting everything in place for that to happen. It's tough, but you can do it. I know you can do it.
You can do it, but let me tell you the awesome thing about it. Once you make a decision, and I promise you this, once you make a decision, okay, I'm going to start making my time. Okay, I'm going to start letting people know in a loving way that I don't quite have time to do that errand today and I've got to do something else. The universe, honestly, when you put that vibration out there, okay, and I know we've all heard of law of attraction, and I somewhat talk a lot about that, but as soon as you've decided this is what you're going to do, your life will click into place. Things will fall away. People who were relying on you more might find somebody else. It's a funny thing, but the universe, as soon as you let the universe know that you're making space and this is what you've decided, things start to open up for you. I guarantee it. So then it becomes effortless, and you can always say no in a kind, loving way. Always.
That's very good, Kimberly. I think that's great advice, for all of us. I know you wanted to give some tips.
I do.
I think that's going to be very important. So I'm going to give you the screen and let you talk about the tools that they can work with.
Okay.
And if there's any questions, here's one that just came in. I don't know if you need your glasses. Can you see this?
True. Learning to say no is so empowering, and it takes practice. Yes, it does. Once you learn how to do that, Kimberly is right. Those user people will move. You know what? Exactly, Deb. That's what happens. It's like a combination of everybody, because, see, people don't mean to be this way, okay? We've been taught we've kind of learned, let's just say that, we've learned to let other people deal for us, right? And then we get to a place where we realize it's not working anymore. So those people who keep coming to you, as soon as you make that decision, it's funny. It's almost like their energy, because they can be energy vampires sometimes and not mean to. Like people feast off of people who allow them to energetically, and then you have no energy left for you. So it's all about self-preservation, really. But when you do that, they will become as uninterested. It's a funny thing, but yes, good point, Deb.
You have another one? Okay. Let's see here. Oh, can you read this? Or you want me to read it for you?
No, I got it. Oh, look who's on here. Hey there, Non-Faye. How are you, honey? Favorite quote from Empowering You. Did you subconsciously allow that projection to define who you truly are, or did you suffer over it as if it were true? Aw.
This is in your book, isn't it?
Yes, that is. Thank you. Letting that projection go really did. Aw, thank you, honey. Thank you for joining.
Yes, I'm excited. We have a lot of viewers today.
That's so funny.
I'm really encouraging to go ahead and ask some questions. But in the meantime, if you want to go through what would be a good practice for them to do daily.
Okay.
I'm going to turn the screen over to you right now.
All right. So you know what? If you have a pen and paper, grab it. Although you're going to post this also, right, Adele?
Yes, I will put it. Yes, that's okay. No problem. I'm going to put it in the comments after the talk show, but they may want to write it down as you're going through it.
Okay. So, and also people will be able to reach out to me, and I'm happy to, write a little something up and post it on one of my, on my group or on my business page, personal page, whatever. So,
right. And
okay.
I'll also give them your links to your, you have a YouTube channel and your Facebook group. I'll give them all of that, but we'll go over that at the end, towards the end. But I'll let you go ahead and take the floor.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. Okay, so here's the deal. Every day, okay, it would be great if you could commit to yourself 5 to 10 minutes a day. Now, I know that this can feel a little freaky if you are not used to making space for just you by yourself. So grab a journal. Take a journal and a pen and sit down. You can do this at night. This is a great thing, I think, to do at night before you go to bed, but you could also do it during the day and at night, however you want to do it. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And make sure every day these things are different. They change. Because once we put the focus in our lives onto what is working, what we are grateful for, the universe feels the vibration and it brings more of that to us. So this is hugely empowering. The next thing I would love you to do is to, in your journal, write 3 things that you like or that you love about you. Now, I have had clients who truly struggled with this, okay? So if you're a person who struggles with this, okay, then in the beginning, until you get more comfortable, and you will, I promise, write the things that you would love to love about yourself. Values, things that you would like to change and that you know you are changing. But ultimately, we want to talk about you and the things that you like or that you love and or you love about yourself. Okay? And this isn't really on the outside. I'm talking about the inner work, okay? Going on the inside, the values, the decisions, the things you did today. You helped somebody to their car. You took an extra 5 minutes to, whatever it was, okay? This second one is really important. And I think that this is going to really help everybody with their tapping into that creator, tapping into that more creative self. And this is kind of a visualizing technique, but it has to do with writing as well. So here you want to write. We're going to write and we're going to visualize and we're going to feel into the piece that you want to come in. Whatever it is that you would like to create. Now, this goes, again, along with the law of attraction. And in order for us to be able to create that which we want in our lives, we have to be able to have alignment, right? Where things are similar with our words, our actions, our thoughts, and our feelings. And our feelings are really important and they're very powerful. So if we have this, let's just use a piece that we want to create. We know that we have something or we're in the middle of it and we just can't get through it, okay? Because I'm sure that happens to all of us with projects and creations. So this is to imagine the most, like how it feels to be able to know that it's done and that you're so impressed and you love it and the process was so fun and you totally got into it. So it's almost like you're done with the piece, right? You want to kind of put yourself in looking at it and knowing how it feels, right? So you might want to close your eyes for this. So it's kind of like, you close your eyes and you understand how good it feels, why it feels good, the colors, maybe how the colors feel. I even wrote down, what kind of people are around when you're looking at this piece? What kind of smells are you smelling? When we put ourselves into the manifestation mode through, our thoughts, right? What are we thinking? Our words, what are we saying, right? What are we doing? What are the actions that we're doing? And the feelings. when we can actually put ourselves in that successful manifestation, it calls all of it in that much faster. Okay. And this is a good way to kind of put the fear aside, because when you go into this exercise, you won't be in fear. And fear is that vibration that kind of disrupts everything, right? And this is a very high vibe experience and exercise for you. So let's call this it's writing, it's visualizing, and it's feeling into the success of what you manifested. And what we want to do is we want to think about what does it feel like, okay? Or even what does it feel like to be a successful artist, right? What about if you're the kind of person who wants to give up your other job and be able to just sustain yourself on your art, okay? So if that's the case, put yourself there. Know what it feels like. Know the way you feel in your work environment. Know the people who you relate to and with, doing the transactions with the art. What kind of clients do you want to call into yourself? Okay. Like, be very clear on what it looks like, what it feels like. I'm not kidding you, what it smells like. All of these things and the feelings, right? What else did I want to say? What types of people show up? So your clientele. And this is important. How will you know when that moment has arrived for you, right? So it's like, how do I explain this? How will you know when you have successfully manifested that which you want, right? How will that feel? And I guess that's related to everything that comes before that. Putting yourself deliberately in that space, in that place. That's a very powerful exercise. And the other thing I just wanted to say, which I said earlier, was to be in nature. Get out in nature. It's a gorgeous day here today. So that's what I'm feeling a lot for everybody. But everybody came here with their individual special blueprint, tapestry thread, right? Nobody can do life like you. Nobody can think like you. Nobody can do anything like you. You have your unique way about you. And people are here right now to share their gifts on a grander scale. And I would also like to say that anytime, if you want to raise the vibration of what you're creating, instead of getting consumed with self, as soon as you take it to the higher level for global, for the best for all, okay, or whatever it is, when it starts to reach out of yourself, when the desire actually becomes not just you and, let's say, your financial gain from this piece, but when it becomes more like, I want to move the world through my creation. I want to help shift the planet. I want to help, a cause, right? I want to, have this piece, on the auction block for this benefit for, $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is. Like, that's when things turn up, like, energetically, because you're going with one, and we are always better together. Let's put it that way. So that's it, Adele. I think that's it.
Well, that's wonderful, Kimberly. I know that it's advice that is going to be well taken, because we're all in different stages in our art careers. Some are just starting out, some are intermediate, some are advanced, some have left and are coming back.
Awesome.
As an artist, if it's there, it's there, no matter what. Even if you leave and you come back,
that's it.
It's in you.
It's in you, and it's coming back around again because it's your calling.
That's right.
Things don't just happen by chance. If you're an artist, there's a reason you're an artist, right? You express through that. Everybody has an expression, right? So that's definitely one of your expressions if you're an artist.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted you to also talk a little bit about your book, and it's called Empowering You.
It is
And
called.
I know you're working on a second book. You were telling me.
I am, and I'm excited about that. I'm working on a lot of, projects right now, so I'm not sure when that is. I'm in the beginning stages of that one, but this book in particular, Empowering You, 11 Ways to Shift Your Personal Paradigm. And I'm sorry if my computer is making noise because it keeps overheating and I am having an issue trying to figure this out. But this book, I was inspired to write this book. This book kind of opens up. This book is about how I found happiness through real challenge in my life. I was at a real low point in my life, and I'd had a lot of low points in my life. But then I hit a new low. I was in a marriage that hadn't been working for many years, and I thought I was happy in a lot of ways. And I had a child who became ill, and I went on a healing journey with my child for 6 to 7 years. And 4 years into that journey, thank God I didn't know it was going to take that long. 4 years into that journey, I literally hit a wall, and we were both sinking, my daughter and I. She wasn't well mentally, physically, and I certainly wasn't well mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And I had a moment, and thank God I had this moment. So this book is a manifestation of my realizations of how to pull myself out, how to create, how to embrace myself, because to be honest with you, I hated myself in a lot of ways. I hated things that I would say, things that I would do. There were a lot of things about myself I really didn't value. And I had this moment and I realized, hey, I can be anybody I want to, and I can do it now. And I can make it happen. And I had, I don't want to give it away, but my book kind of shares that I had this moment, and it was, I know part of it was divinely, or probably all of it was divinely inspired. And, went back to some childhood memories that I had. And I realized all along that it was kind of like Dorothy, actually. I'm just getting this, the Wizard of Oz. And she's like, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. And she realizes that all she had to do, she was home all along, right? All she had to do was wake up, I guess, and she was home. But it's a funny thing. I realized in a moment that I just needed to go home, right? I needed to go home, but home was inside of me in a lot of ways. And that's why I'm so big on this connecting to self, because our home is where we learn. That's where we learn. And that's where our navigation tools get strong in our life. And that's where we can get clear and not as attached to things and outcomes in our lives, so that we can be free to be able to create and move forward in our life. And Empowering You is that. It's a small book. It's very powerful. If you are interested, I think I'm going to actually be doing I think I'm going to do a workshop using my book, because I know that some people can get maybe a little stuck along the way. We talk about things like in my book, we talk about forgiving and why it's hugely beneficial to all of us. And of course, we have to go through a little process before we get to that place where we really can forgive. But learning how to speak your truth, learning how to stand up for yourself in a loving way, learning how to be more compassionate in our lives and to be grateful and invite forgiveness, from others and extend forgiveness to others. I'm a firm believer that we all do the best that we're able to do in every moment, given what we know in our life experience, and how we feel, in that situation. All these things meet us in these moments, but I believe we are doing the very best we're able to do. So that's Empowering You. That's it.
Well, I have also, I'm trying to see here, there is a place, I'm not sure, is it the One True Joy of Empowering You? Is that where they would go to see more or read more about it?
So So I have two. So I have a website, which is
Right.
onetruejoy.com.
Okay.
You
There
can
you go.
purchase the book there. You can check the book out there. It'll also take you over to my author page. And then my author page, though, is empoweringyou.me.
Okay. And there's a comment here that I'll.
Aw, non-Faye. This book transpires generations. Read this one. Oh, right. She read this. She read this when she was 22. And it's so funny. Yeah. So I don't know how much of non-Faye's story I can share, but she did read this when she was younger, and she comes from a specific cultural background that really, I don't want to speak too much because I don't want to make a mistake in what I'm saying. And please chirp up if you want to, non-Faye. However, they have this, like all cultures, really, there are a lot of cultures where you must honor the family, and all your choices in life, right, are through that. And we have that here in this country, but it's, I would say, watered down in different ways. Certain cultures are very, very specific with kind of maybe abandoning self. It sounds a little extreme, but not focusing on yourself as much, and really just focusing on what you need to do to make the family look good, and to make the parents look good, and honor them, and honor what they need and what they want you to do, instead of, living for yourself, right? Maybe it's a university, maybe it's, a career. I've worked with people who are my age and felt they had to go into the career because their parents weren't able to. So they kind of picked up and ran with that. And then it became not as fulfilling for them as they got older, because they didn't feel as passionate about it because, maybe the parent had passed away, or it just wasn't sustaining them anymore. So that's big. That's why it's so important to get connected to self and to start honoring us and to become our own best friend. You're here for you. I mean, the more you give to yourself, the more you can give to others. You cannot give that to others that you don't first give to yourself. Truth.
That's exactly right.
That's exactly right. It. Relationship, everything, job, you name it, art, creation, bam.
Yeah, it's all in there, huh? It's a big enchilada.
Big enchilada, babe. Yeah.
I know you have a YouTube channel too, and I went on there the other day, and you have quite a few videos in there that they can look at and subscribe to your channel. I'll also post that once the talk show is over. I'll post all your links in there. I believe you said you also had Instagram. We can go ahead and put that in there as well.
Follow me on Instagram. I'm going to try to get my Instagram in order. Right now, it's just a lot of video posting because I need some help in some areas. However, what I want to say about the videos is this.
Okay.
If you felt inspired today, okay, if you feel like what we've talked about has been helpful, then go to my website and sign up for my newsletter, honestly, because I do weekly videos for all of my subscribers. And I work with relevant things, real life things. I forget what I did yesterday. What did I talk about yesterday? Oh my God.
Now, you're talking about your website. I also have your Facebook group. Is that an open group?
So I have my business page, which is One True Joy, and I also have a group called Empowering You, and that's a community that I put together to start conversations and things. And I will admit I haven't done the conversation piece. I do post a video in there, but I would love to get a bigger group. I would love to have a place where people can, if they're having a tough day and they just want to reach out to the group and say, hey, so we can all kind of elevate and inspire each other. Because you know what? It is easier when we go through this together, and life is challenging, and we need each other, and we're all the same at the end of the day. We all deal with the same things. So yeah, but the newsletter on my website is the best way to get my weekly videos, because then you go into the marketing funnel. Then you get every Tuesday my videos go out, and people really enjoy them.
Okay.
I'm happy to say. And I'm trying, I'm here because my passion is helping, and my passion is to help people make small shifts, because making small shifts creates big changes in our lives. Very big.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kimberly. Well, we surely appreciate you being here. And sometimes these are things that we really need to hear. I have had other guests, and it's been other artists, but I knew I needed to bring someone like you in here. Aww. Because there's other situations that we deal with other than learning how to do a technique or something. Our inner selves needs to be nurtured as well.
Yes.
And I just thought it was super important to have you on here, and hopefully a lot of the artists that weren't able to make the live show, they'll go back and look at the replay, because you have given some very valuable information, and with the tips that you gave, and so far as daily things that they can do, and to write and visualize and feel that success, I think that's going to be real important to a lot of them. We have a couple of comments here.
Yep.
This one's from Lee.
Oh, thank you. Oh. Thank you, Lee. Can everyone see it? Everyone can see this?
Yes,
right?
Everybody can see it. Okay. And it says, Lee says, this was uplifting. I think watching this was meant to be, divinely sent. Thank you.
God bless.
Well, it's nice to know that the artists are coming into the talk shows. I make a big effort to bring in guests that I know that they will enjoy and get something out of it. And I have noticed they do go back and look at the replays. So that makes me feel very good about all of that.
Awesome. How long have you been doing it?
I started, I would say about 2 months ago, maybe 3. The last couple of weekends I didn't, because one was Memorial Weekend. Right. And then the weekend before that was Canadian, the Victoria, which is like, so, and since I'm a dual citizenship, of course I have to celebrate both weekends. No.
Right? Hey, Mother's Day was in there too, I believe. I think that's
Mother's Day was in there, so we got really caught up with a lot of things. But I'm doing it. I'm doing the talk shows, trying to get to them on Sunday at 3:00 Eastern Time. Tried to stay pretty much on that, unless I have a guest that is. We had a guest that was in New Zealand, and I had to deal with the time changes. So
that's a big time.
Pretty much on Sunday, because I think most of the people are more relaxed, and they'll take the time to look at the talk show. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I appreciate all your input and your wisdom. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. And hopefully we'll have you back again once you have that second book written.
I would love it. Okay. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure, everybody. See you soon.
Kimberly. We talk to you later.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.